Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On last Monday, our group conducted PCB fabrication experiment. So number one, pre-lab. Please draw PCB layout for the schematic below. Okay, we carry out the power supply circuit. So here the voltage regulator, the junction and the capacitor. So the ground using the express SCH. Next, we use express PCB to make for PCB fabrication. So here the bottom side of the PCB, and here the top layer of PCB. Okay, thank you.
So for the second pre-lab, which is we identify the suitable footprint for the whole components and list all the components in one footprint. For schematic, we are using connected 2-pin for junction, IC LM7805 for regulator, and capacitor polarized for capacitor C1 and capacitor C2. And for the PCB, we are using capacitor axial electrolyte for C1 and C2, and we are using connector Molex 1H for J1 and J2, and we are using semiconductor for the IC, for the voltage regulator. So here the footprint without connection. So LM7805, we are using this connector. Both capacitor, we are using the polarized capacitor. In input and output, we are using the connected 2-pin.
Okay, next, the result. Number one result from the PCB process, draw a flow chart of overall steps in making PCB. So first we design and printing using express PCB, preparing FR4 board. Next, wash FR4 board. Then laminating and using UV light exposure. Next, developer process and etching. Then we can rinse and dry the PCB.
Okay, second, name the chemical used for etching process. What is the chemical name to remove the protective layer, and what is the proper procedure need to be taken after using the solution chemical? The chemical utilized for etching procedure is ferric chloride. According to the video shown in the visual lab section, the acid in the solution is strong enough to dissolve the undesirable copper in the pre-made laminate. The chemical used to remove the protective layer is acetone, which is superior to sodium hydroxide. To safely dispose of the residual chemical, it is recommended that it is stored in a safe container and sent to a local trash facilities.
So the third result is illustrate a diagram showing the photoresist process. So first is clean and dry the substrate. Then we are using sulfate and expose to UV light. Then we remove the mask and heartbeat resist. And then we use chemical etching and remove the photoresist.
Okay, next we proceed to discussion. Number one, discuss the effect of overexposed PCB to the UV light. What is the appropriate time the layout should be exposed to the UV light? When a PCB is overexposed to UV radiation, the light penetrates to the black area, resulting in a bad consequences for the PCB board that has an effect between two traces that are close together. So the appropriate time should be exposed to the UV light is between 5 to 6 minutes.
Second, discuss the effect of the air bubble in eliminated process. The effect of air bubble in elimination process is that the bond between copper and prepreg in the bubble area will be poor. The PCB will delaminate and bulge as a result of this. When layers of your PCB base material partially separate, this is referred to as delamination.
The discussion is please suggest the best solution for broken track during the PCB process and how to avoid this problem. First is using the wire wrap because it is the greatest remedy for broken tracks during the PCB manufacturing process. since it is very thin and easy to solder to the silver coating. Before that, it should flux the PCB and solder it to ensure the nice solder coating on the copper. Preheating the soldering iron with enough power and correct preparation, such as embolishing the joint and stabilizing the process, will help to avoid this problem.
Okay, next quiz. Number 1. What is the function of UV exposure? UV exposure is a procedure in which a photoresist substance is applied on the board and then exposed to UV light to set up. It is then subjected to UV light after being placed in the photosensitized board. The light then passes through the clear film and cures the photoresist, leaving the opaque film alone. Next, why the developer process is important in this PCB fabrication flow? What happens if we skip this process? The developer process divides the development activity into phases or processes in order to better product management and design. The PCB fabrication flow starts with material preparation, then move on the next phase when that is completed, and so on until the final process is completed. These results demonstrate that the same principle is applied to the developer process in the PCB manufacturing flow, ensuring that the process produces higher quality in its development and manufacture. As a result, if a process is skipped, the entire development will be regarded a failure. This statement is made for a variety of the reasons, one of which is that it will lead to production flaws, contamination faults, in which the boards become contaminated during assembly due to surface finishing that is not done to the unused conformal coating during the operation. One of the most obvious defects.